is your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast, your host of the #1 podcast, coming to you live in America, streaming to you live across the country today. This is a blockbuster, dynamic speaker. You all are blessed today. I'm blessed to even know him. This man is incredible. This man is dynamic. This man is powerful. And this is unfortunately the end of our All-Star weekend, but I saved the best for last. And so I am introducing special guest, Mr. Reneldo Randall. He is a dynamic and savvy authority on successful leadership in advancing human and intellectual capital. That's up here, right? A big picture visionary who understands how daily operations shape results and goals. As a motivated achiever, he is recognized domestically and abroad for combining excellence, integrity, and innovation with the best practices and common sense, right? We need a little bit of that to achieve immediate and long-term goals. As a higher education administrator, professor, consultant, let's not forget father figure, man of God, and big-time mogul. I am introducing you my special guest, my friend, Mr. Reneldo Randall, coming to you live on the show. Sir, welcome. Thank you for coming on the show today. We are blessed to have you.
Yes, I'm going to be here, man. Gentleman Style Podcast, All-Star, wrapping up the All-Star segment. It's a pleasure, man.
Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you. We appreciate you very much. I thank you, brother. This is powerful, y'all. Thank you, Mr. Reneldo. You're a man of many talents, many gifts, many different things you have done. Just like your bio said, I don't need to reintroduce your bio, but you are a man of many talents. Tell us, what was your inspiration? You have a company, a nonprofit, 503c, RPEO, which stands for Real People Educating Others. Tell us about that and what inspired you to bring this. Now, I can't even call it a baby anymore. What inspired you to bring this to life?
Yeah, man. So, and it is real people on what side is Real People Educating Others. So I did come with a little swag today. So we started the organization, me and, Purcell Pickett, PJ, my comrade at arms, and another a gentleman that's a close friend with us. We started it because we just saw a need, right? It's like anybody else that starts a business, they saw a need. Just so happens ours was in the the civic space. It was in the helping people space, and it's something that just came really organic. Like when we first started, it was really grassroots. We just wanted to help, and we started off like a lot of small organizations in the speaker space, in the kind of service space where we started off at churches and we started off at schools, and we were just trying to get out there, and we're heart people, and we led with our heart with this endeavor, and so that's how it started. And like any other business, we evolved and we grew and we adjusted accordingly, man.
That's powerful. So you and your partner saw the vision, you saw the need, and you wanted to fill that void because no one else in the community was doing it. And I have to say, you are the hardest working man, one of the hardest working men I know. You've done fundraisers, basketball coaching, and mentorships, feeding the homeless. Before COVID-19, starting back to school events. Right? Back to school events. Right. This is not our first interview, y'all. This man has exponentially blown up, and just the phenomenal growth, even in a pandemic, even in, dare I say, a recession, you have managed to still serve and give back. And one of those things that's new to me that I'm interested in, I'm curious about, you have a virtual mentorship program. So I see the pivot, right? I see the pivot where you're still doing those things, but now you've gone virtual. Tell us about your virtual mentorship program.
Yeah, man. And that's a key word in business. Like, I've spoken at a couple of events very reluctantly, some virtual, some in person, very reluctantly. And I spoke about just this ability for people to pivot. And, if you ever watch basketball, you see people pivot, that's a lot of people's first introduction. They're like pivoting on one leg, they get double team. And so it's a frantic space to be in, right? And so, so we were awarded some money to hold on one second, let me silence that.
You are good. You're good. This is still a family show, y'all. This is Gentleman Style Podcast, and we are still live. So
Correct. And I'm in my home office, so everything we're going to talk about is still happening here, because entrepreneurs don't really sleep. We don't work 9 to 5s. We trade those in for 24/7s, right? And so yeah,
True.
certainly, man. So yeah, we awarded some monies to put on a mentorship program. Of course, we got those monies. Yeah, thank you, appreciate that. We awarded those monies to put on a mentorship program, which we're going to do with or without getting that money. Because that's just how we move, right? We don't wait on people to do anything for us. We move. And so got the money. We had to rethink how we're going to do it because of COVID. We wanted to make sure everything is safe, right? We want to make sure everybody's safe. And so what we ended up doing is we've been using Zoom. Like Zoom was going crazy, right? I tried to buy some stock in Zoom because I knew I saw the writing on the wall. And so we just purchased a Zoom account and we just made it happen, man. And what we're able to do, so, people it's always whatever situation, you got to look at it glass half full, glass half empty. And so what we looked at it as is a glass half full situation, right? It broadened our reach, right? So now we have people not only from the area where we're in that we would have potentially served in person. Now we have people in South Carolina, North Carolina, Ohio, right? All these different other states, New Jersey, right? So all these other states, so we're able to serve more people. And it's something that was needed even more now because of the complexities that our students and families are facing. And so in spite of everything that's going on in the world, it ended up being a bigger win. And so that's been echoed from the people that have attended, the young people, ages right now 10 through 15, and the parents. So that's been really dope to see.
that is really dope to see, and that's really powerful. And that's incredible because with anything, let's say Boy Scouts of America, with anything, you always see. I think people see those as kind of like a second daycare where you drop off your kids, they do some activity and come back later. But you actually involve both parties. Everybody participates. Everybody plays a significant role and a hand in the development of the youth. And so why the focus? I noticed you. Why the focus on education? Right, the focus on education, and why the focus on our youth? You can branch off. You're smart enough to branch off into any industry, real estate, stocks and bonds, open up your own firm, your own practice. Why the focus on education, and why our youth?
So I think you said it early, man. Like, some of it's a God thing. It's about being purpose to do a thing and seeing a need and just being drawn to that. I mean, I think we benefited from me, PJ, the people that grew up in our era. Some that went down a different path, some that went down a better path. We all benefited, even those who went down a bad path, benefited from the mentorship and the programming, right? Although there wasn't a whole bunch of intentional programming, and they didn't take the type of approach that we took, right? So just so happened we played sports, we were athletes, and you know how it is. Sometimes athletes just get treated a little better because they're athletic talent. And that's okay in some spaces, right?
Not me. I was an academic.
It's one of those things, man. And it also kept us, the athletics had us, give us a purpose in that season in life. And so for us, what we saw from the people in our neighborhoods and what we saw getting worse as we got older and it just changed is the same type of issues, and sometimes getting worse with less resources. So for us, it was easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Right.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so now we still work with young adults, right? In terms of like up to really age 24, 25, because a part of our program does include returning citizens, right? Because what we found is, and education being a great equalizer and all that different stuff too. But, what you find with school to prison pipelines, we had a lot of friends that didn't make it to high school. Right. So within that middle school age, I mean, it can really go bad for you, particularly if you're from socioeconomically challenged backgrounds, if you're a Black or brown person. Right. If you're absentee fathers, there's all these things that gets tossed into variables and statistics that cause people to go down this path. And so for us, we just felt like that's what we needed to be. And we knew that it's something that we were able to benefit from. Right. As young people. And so that's the lane we've been in, and we just have, it's like a calling, right? It's also like a karma in real life.
And that's big because I study criminal justice, right? And so what kind of set the tone for me with you is that it was incredible when I realized that you actually had that portion of your business. I think a lot of times people go out to prison and we forget about them. And the biggest thing is recidivism, which is one's return to crime. Right?
Yeah.
You serve time, and then they release you. You did your time, but society still punishes you in some long-term way. They don't set you up with any set skills or set you up for the long-term success, and you end up right back in prison because either you've come back to a world you're not familiar with, so you go back to what is familiar, which is that environment, or you don't have the ability to survive because you weren't nurtured, you weren't developed into getting acclimated back into society. They just, hey, do you have a place to go? Here's $80 for cab fare. Good luck. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
And that's big. And you are one of the very few organizations that is doing that. I met a gentleman that said he purposely goes back to prison. What have you been seeing?
Wow. I think that it's really a mindset. It's really a mindset. I mean, you're right. The recidivism rate is very staggering, right? Because you release these people that went into the penal system with no skill set, right? Their mindset was in a bad place probably, and you put them in a place where you're no longer doing anything to change their behaviors, right? So there's not much programming in that way in the penal system right now. Then you release them, still with no skills, back to the place where they came from. And some people, all they know is whatever lifestyle they were living. Just before COVID hit, and so we had started going into the juvenile detentions, but before COVID hit, we were going into our first penitentiary, and we were going to do a transition program. We do have a person that's in our organization that was in the penitentiary system, got a trade there, got out of the penitentiary system, and it's all about your circle of influence, like with everything, right? Like you show me your friends, I'll show you who you're going to be. So having
I like that.
Having access to the right people, now to the right people that can introduce him to the right people that can introduce a new mindset and introduce opportunities. So giving yourself opportunity to have opportunity. That person now has $1 million business, right? From the penitentiary, a trade that was acquired in the penitentiary now has $1 million business, makes more money than me in all my little degrees, right? So it's just amazing to see. And through that individual's business, we've been able to bring people that are close to us that were incarcerated, because the number one thing is getting employment when you get out, right? Because,
yes.
People know COVID, people losing jobs, and here you come, the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, for somebody that's employable, and you can't get a job, right? Because your record follows you, plus we're in a bad economic situation. Yes. And so we've been able to put people in jobs and then help them with all the other things, like expedite everything you would need to reacclimate to the free world, right? And so that's what we've been able to do. And I mean, like, we've been seeing people like in 3 months, apartment, license, job, then another job, resume, building credit. Some of them will build their credit while they're incarcerated. And so when they come out, they have credit. Now it's just a matter of getting them a job, which we can employ some of them, and we can work with other people to get them jobs, right? And then close. And so, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. And we know that any one of us, one wrong move, been in the wrong place, could have been us, right? Because for Black and brown people, you don't get a lot of chances. Or anybody from impoverished communities, right? You make one mistake. At 15, at 14, you can go straight to adult prison, and we'll see you when you turn 25. So it's that type of situation. And it's a problem that's disproportionate to people that look like me and you. And so it's a way to impact the community in a major way, ultimately economically, right? And so these people also know that eventually they'll probably become entrepreneurs because, jobs become a situation for them. So
not probably, will, right?
Should.
Because society has written them off. And here you come with the connections, with the heart. Y'all, like I told y'all, dynamic speakers, dynamic men and women. Please like, share, and subscribe. You are not going to get this anywhere else except a personal consultation with Mr. Reneldo Randall or on this podcast. This is powerful, y'all. That's incredible. Again, studying criminal justice, that hits home for me. I wrote an essay on that, on what should society do in order to facilitate that transition better. And I got 100 on the essay. And I felt one of the ways is removing the stigma, if I do the crime and I do my time and I serve my time, with the exceptions of the bigger ticket items like murder, or child pornography or sex offender, that type of stuff, those should follow you. But something should, if it's not applicable to the job, then the employer doesn't need to know.
Yeah.
And I think that should be at a case by case basis. So if I apply for a job at a company and I was in prison for stealing groceries, and I'm going to go work in a company that doesn't put me in that same mindset or doesn't put me in that same vantage point, then that should not be pervy or accessible to the employer, because the employer doesn't need to know that, because it's not relevant for my job. If I robbed a bank and I'm applying to a bank, then yes, the employer, it's relevant. You should know that. And now I got 100 on that paper. Yeah. And I think thank you. But
yeah, particularly on a timeline where diversity and inclusion is now a thing because of all the unrest that we're experiencing. Like, that's a part of diversity and inclusion, because that comes from a sociology and a culture, unfortunately, that people are predisposed to, right? And so if you go to, and mind you, a lot of it's for drug infractions, right? And some of them, and marijuana, cannabis has been made legal in a lot of places. And so, it's just really interesting. A lot of major drug infractions where you can get major, minor, medium drug infractions where you get more time than becoming a murderer, and then you get looked at like you're a murderer when it comes to being into the in the workplace.
That's true. You have, so again, y'all, what is this? You're not going to get this anywhere else. Mr. Reneldo is impacting the community. He's changing lives. What? You have a book. You have a publishing company as well.
Yeah, a book and a publishing company. You know how we do, Marcus, and your listeners probably already know. Multiple income streams, man, right? All the money is in-house. It's just all cycle around, and you got to figure out how to do that. But yes, we have a book, man, that we're excited about. Amazon bestseller, 2 categories. Been a crazy experience.
So I'm excited about this book, y'all. This book is on Amazon, Friends in Business. I bought the book. This is a powerful read because it's a transition for me, because I'll say it publicly live right now. I didn't believe in doing business with family members until I read the book. I didn't think it was possible. Doing different things, real estate, the different things that I'm involved in, I didn't think it was possible or a good idea to do business. And the book is titled Friends in Business, the Blueprint for Doing Business with Family and Friends. Can you give us a touch point on that book and how you dive in and set that blueprint out for us, please?
Yeah, man. So it's a small book, like under 100 pages. It's meant to be studied and not read, right? And so you really get a chance to get into it. We offer some free consulting after you get the book. So it's really dope. A couple people taking advantage of that. And so it's really about friends in business and family business doing business together. And we didn't really realize how many people had always told us to write a book. And we were like, well, what do we write a book on? And so there's leadership all over the place. There's communication, and these are some of my specialties: leadership, communication all over the place. There's management all over the place. And there's emotional intelligence. There's experts in all these areas. And so the space we found that we had success, we had actually mastered, is friends in business, right? And so we didn't realize how many people were endeavoring to do business with friends. Anecdotally we knew, but once we got into some Google Analytics, we really saw how many people were searching for like quotes about friends in business. And so we came up with a blueprint to kind of talk through some of the high points, right? And so we did a survey, figure out why people don't do business with friends. There's things like money and damaging the friendship and unfair expectations of the friend and all these different things. But when you look at all the high points, the reason you endeavor to do it in the first place, how fun is it, if done right, to make a tremendous amount of money with friends and family, and then to be around the people you love, know, and trust all the time, and then also vacation with them if you want, right? And so it's some delicate pieces that people need to pay attention to. Basic business principles. Is it easy? Not always, but it's not always easy to work with people that you don't know and don't like and don't pick, right? But is it worth it? Absolutely, right? And when you start talking about friends and family and friends that are like family and legacy, it's a whole new ball game. So we're talking about advancing the ball for the family, friend, enterprise, right? Husband, wife, cousin, and being smart about it and being intelligent about it. We got some free resources on our website that kind of get you started what you should start to do.
Which website? What's the website?
Yeah, so it's Friends in Biz, FRINDS, inbiz.com. So there's some free resources there. You also get the book there that show you how to start. It's almost like marriage counseling, right? It's like we got to talk about Christmas and where we going for Christmas early, because when it happens and we're in the heat of the moment, that's not the time to talk about it, right? So the rain is coming. It's coming. Conflict is coming. Disagreement is coming. But as much as possible, let's plan ahead for it so that when it comes, we already know what we're going to do. In most cases, because we already sat down under cooler heads, right, in our best state of mind, and come up with some rules of engagement. And so I think that's a big part of it. Learn to love each other and focus on the communication. And this is the other part, right? Because it's Friends in Biz, and we now have a publishing company, which is RPEO Publishing, right? And we did that because we wanted to publish our own book. Why should somebody get a piece of what we've done? So we became the publishing company. Shortly after that, we published a book. So things have been moving really fast. As a spinoff of that, we also have coaching, consulting, and mastermind groups, master classes, and we'll probably be producing some other products here soon too. So it's been a crazy ride. And this is since April, right? This is since April. I mean, and we almost didn't release it because of the pandemic. But come to think of it, it's a perfect time, because what are people needing to do right now? They need to start a business. They need to double down on whatever that gig was, that hustle that they had going on. Now it might be time to double down on it. So it seemed like a bad time, but once again, glass can be half full or half empty. And so we made it half full.
That's powerful, y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is Mr. Marcus Norman, Gentleman Style Podcast, your host with Mr. Reneldo Randall. And this is incredible. This is massive. And so you mentioned it because y'all heard it. He does consulting, mentorship. He has a masterclass program. So that's the next thing I'm probably going to check out next. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I'm going to be straightforward. I got a sneak peek. I got a sneak peek into the masterclass, and I'm going to ask you right here, right now. You can give us a 3,000-foot coaching mentorship right now. How can my audience organize, maximize, and own this year? And I think that's relevant because of everything we're going through and everything that we're fighting through to just make it to 2021. So out of your masterclass, how can my audience members organize, maximize, and own 2020 and finish this year in the best way possible, in the best effective way?
Well, I want to say this up front, like focus on your mental health right now, right? Focus on your mental health, because this is a crazy time, because you want to be in a good state of mind. Like focus on your mental health, because with no health, there's no wealth. And I had struggled to understand that for a while as a semi-young man, but without any health, there's no wealth. You are the business, right? The dwelling, right. You are the business. So you have to be healthy so that you can spend that money later, right? And retire and leave it a legacy. And so I think if you're in business, you need to pivot. I know, don't be married to the old way of doing business. Pivot. It's a digital revolution right now. The revolution will not be televised, it'll be digitized. And so what's happening right now, I was just on a conference for 3 days. Virtual, and was in this chair, right? 3 days. And so, and got crazy content. And you'll notice everybody that's delivering content is now doing it in the space. And so you have to figure out how to increase your digital fingerprint, footprint, toe print, whatever, right? And so when in Rome, do what the Romans do, but you got to pivot quick, right? have a shorter emotional recovery. Like you can't be sad about what's happening because you have no control over it. So control the controllables, right?
True.
Get digital. If you're not in business, and if you are in business and your business really requires you to do some of the things that are required to happen in a pre-COVID world, find ways to branch off, scale, right? Reinvest your money, because that's what entrepreneurs and business people do. I'm not married to the business like that, right? I need to be able to scale and branch off, grow, and evolve, pivot. And so for those that aren't in business and want to get in business, find a need and fill it. There's plenty of needs right now to fill, right? Look around what's happening and fill the need. And this is a note for all entrepreneurs and can be, will be entrepreneurs. Is like, when you get the money from entrepreneurship, reinvest it. Sometimes you got to reinvest back in your business. You got to pay yourself at some point, reinvest into your business, stabilize your business, but then go reinvest like Mr. Norman's doing, go get some real estate, multiple income streams, right? So, and I would also say, I mentioned the gig economy earlier. That's the new language people are using, the gig economy. If you have a little hustle, I'm gonna call it a little hustle, but if you have something you were doing on the side that was maybe a little hobby, make you a little couple dollars here, you might want, depending on what it is, you might want to double down on it.
What's that mean? I can't let you go past it. What's that mean? Double down on?
Which one? Double down?
Yeah.
I mean, you might got to step into that a little harder. Like you might want to really put some concerted effort into that to see if it will, bring in some coins. Because a lot of people have been doing things that were cute before. Oh, that's cute. But now you might got a little business model, and I'm talking about, and it's a methodology out there called Lean Startup methodology. Y'all can look it up and Google it. Lean Startup, and the concept is just do as much as you need to get started. Don't build everything. You don't got to build everything. Do the one thing to get started, and then once you find out that works, you keep going. Right, and so those are a couple of nuggets I would recommend, and to keep feeding yourself positive stuff. Keep tightening up your circle. Also, you can network virtually. It's a new thing, but you can do it. You can meet people and network virtually. Not only can you should, and you are going to have to, right? And so there's some things that will never go back to what they were, and so you need to get yourself in position now, and also be kind of futuristic thinking. And so those are a couple of nuggets that I would leave with your audience, man. And that'll get them to the next step and beyond, I think.
So you don't think we're going back to the old, get up, get dressed, go back to your 9 to 5, bring back your laptop. You think we're not going back to that? You think this is how we are now as far as the work environment, the workspace? Because this is blown up. I've never seen so many entrepreneurs before in my life. Entrepreneurs we selling jewelry, we selling DoorDash, we are hustling now.
Yeah.
You don't think it's gonna go back to the old way once the vaccine comes out or once the elections are over?
Not fully. Plus, we haven't hit like we're still in the beginning stages, right? I struggle to find the word, but we haven't hit. I want to
full stride
take off, right? But so it's still uncertain. Like on the conference I was on, there's like how to flourish in a 3-year recession, a 3-year pandemic.
Wow.
Right? Because there's so many steps that has to go through, right? You have the medical pieces, right? That people got to get, then you have the comfort level of the people, right? The vaccination. Some people aren't going to take that vaccination too. It's, people that understand science may realize that maybe it came too soon. And so who takes the first, there's iPhones, but you ain't gonna find a whole bunch of early adopters to some vaccination that was quickly manufactured, maybe around election, right? And so and people are just fearful, right? Because they never seen anything like this. A lot of people have died, and so there's gonna be that anxiety. I know and then there's some things that there's ways we learn to be more efficient. We've already, before COVID, we started doing things, more with less. And so now we found that we can, because we were called to do it, right? Outside of our control. Now we found ways to be innovative and do things faster and do it with less people, right? And do it with less travel to work, less office space. And so some of those things are beneficial for the bottom line for businesses anyway. And so it wouldn't be intelligent to go back, right?
True.
Yeah, and so telework is going to become something that is more normalized. And then, the fear factor is going to change the way people do things. Like I've ordered so many groceries, I've ordered so much DoorDash, I've ordered so much Amazon that I'm forming a habit. You know how habit forming stuff goes. And so then, why break the habit when the habit was also convenient? And so some of those things are going to go back, and there's other things too that we could talk. We could do a whole podcast on that. But some things will never return. It's just the way it's going to be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you think that in the movement of how do I say this? I'm trying to be politically correct. How do I say this? In the movement of the Black Lives Matter movement, where protesting, the violence, the rioting, and the unlawful murders of the men and women of our community, do you see us? I think, and this is me, I'll go first. I think we have come together more during this time than ever before. And although these are negative things, the rioting, the destroying of Target and all these spaces, we have now come together more than I've ever seen. And I think that's good. I think that's a positive as far as Black people and African Americans coming together. Do you think that what's the good that you've seen that come out of this, if any?
Yeah, just what you're saying. Now, and so just for your listeners to give context, I'm also the chair of the board for the Black brand, the Black Chamber of Commerce here in the Hampton Roads area. And so that's yes, sir. And so I have that vantage point, right? And so I've been involved with how it's affecting our Black businesses from a governmental level, just economics, people that serve people, when you talk about social distance and all that thing. But then you got the social unrest, right, to go along with that. And so, yes, it's brought us closer together. Not only people from the diaspora, right, not only Black people and brown people, which is good. That's something we needed because we struggle from a lot of post-traumatic slave syndrome. I'm giving you a lot of stuff that y'all need to go Google. Post-traumatic slave syndrome. and some of the things we experienced because of how people of color arrived to this country. And so the other thing is it's bringing us together as a country in a time when it's been so divisive, right? So I feel like we've seen some divisive things that have come here of late over the last 4 years, right? And I think that kind of gave license for some of the things that happened with some of the unarmed, unnecessary murders and then the slow action thereafter. And so I think that gave license for some of that stuff to happen. And then I think the results, and obviously the most recent one, George Floyd, really pulled everybody together, right? I had a lot of people contact me that never contact me about a topic, right? And so I really saw it differently. And I felt the pain like I think every Black person around America, brown person, every person that had a heart around America felt. And so I feel like it's bringing us closer together. It's also causing people that never needed or had to look because maybe it wasn't their problem or it just wasn't pronounced enough to now see it. And I've seen a lot of money being given for diversity, inclusion, and a lot of conversations being had, which is good, right? And some of those are just checking the box, and some of them are genuine, but still it's movement, right? And so I think that it's bringing us together. Sad it had to happen this way, but it's beautiful to see the advocacy that's been happening from everywhere. Now, not advocating for any of the burning of business and stuff like that, but we learned that African American people learned that from other people, right? And so, and some of that wasn't African American people. So we don't condone that. There's other ways to do it. And you got to, people had to find their way in the movement. And our way is to make sure people invest and support Black businesses and small businesses.
Yes, sir. And I think you are at the forefront. You and RPEO, and you fell right into it. I wanted you to mention the Black Chamber of Commerce because I attended. He had a real estate development, real estate conference before the pandemic that I was in attendance of, and I got so much out of it because the most dynamic speakers in our community and some outside of the community. We had Congresswoman congresswoman there who attended as well, and just
Vic from Hampton,
Sabrina Wooten,
and then we had Vice Mayor Vic. So the players were in the room, right?
The players, the big players, was involved, and so I that's what I wanted you to go into. The most powerful thing, you don't see any other race attacked the way we are, and the Jewish community sticks out to me at the moment, because the Jewish community, the reason why you don't see them on television getting murdered like us is because they have infrastructure. When you go to New York, they have Asian communities, Chinatown, they have an entire community for them. And if you start assassinating them, they're not going to just riot. They'll stop paying taxes. They have their own banking system. They have their own agriculture. They have built a infrastructure that is self-sustaining within us and within them. And so you are at the precipice of that, because with the Black Chamber of Commerce bringing businesses, bringing real estate investors, bringing council members in one central location to bring all those great minds together, we are heading in the right direction. And so, and you are at the board, you're the board of directors on that Black Chamber of Commerce. So you see that, and you see where you're heading. And I want to applaud you, brother. And I'm glad you bit that apple, because it's needed in order for us to continue to move forward.
It is. Yeah, it's a lot of advocacy and a lot of education. Yeah, because we miss a lot of stuff because we're not educated. I mean, we haven't had a seat at the table in so long, and so we're making sure that some of those things, and really recent events have helped that. Unfortunate, but once again, glass half full. And so yes, it's been, and you're right about other cultures, and I heard them say today that on the conference that American was birthed in racism, right? And covered race supremacy. And so, by and large, African Americans were the workforce that built the country. And so, it just put us in the bottom rung of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Food, clothing, and shelter. And that was our situation. And it's like we've been under attack, right? And so there's no other, for as long as it's been, there's been no other race, ethnic group that's had policies and rules where they've been completely written out. Right. It was for Jews for a while, but then a lot of other cultures get reparations too. And so it goes very deep, man. I'm still learning a lot of the stuff too, and that's the other thing too. We have to continue to learn about our history, right? So while we're in the state that we're in, not only as individuals, as people, right? And that's going to help us move forward, right? We'll be more cognitive and understand that some of this is systematic. Like there's things you've never heard of. You ask like, why are real people educating others, right? Why education? Because education is so vital. Like we need to be educated about everything. It's just not about what they teach us in school. By the way, what they teach us in school is, it's the conquerors' stories, right? Because the conquerors get to write the stories, right? The conqueror don't write the stories. And so and so, yeah. The culture is changed, the culture is left out. And so you have a people that really don't understand how they got to the place they're at. And sometimes don't understand how to maneuver through. But they do realize in many cases that they are behind. And so I think as a people, kind of that's where we're at. And so I said, education is a great equalizer, just in everything, but in wealth, business is a great equalizer. Entrepreneurship.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What does RPEO have in store for us? What's in the pipeline?
So RPEO is still going to do our events. Everything's just different. Like for instance, we do a pretty significant back to school event. That's changed obviously because a lot of schools are virtual. A lot of them are returning back. They're kind of phasing that in, and so the plan there is to take the stuff to the schools, right, and have the students pick it up there, and they can have it there when schools open. So our mantra for this has been, when students are allowed in the building, that's when we'll bring the stuff to the buildings. We also have Thanksgiving right around the corner, so we'll be doing that. And we'll be doing that a little differently too. We're trying to make sure that that though volunteers will probably still come volunteer, but we'll make sure everybody's safe. And so we'll do a abbreviated version of that. But with that, we're going to add, and one of our board members has brokered some crazy arrangement with some company in the church where they have 2,000 boxes of food come every Saturday. Yeah, I mean milk, eggs, like yes, total blessing. And so we're probably going to partner with them to kind of augment what we aren't going to be able to do for Thanksgiving just because of the safety in moving. And we'll probably do a couple of drop-offs to the communities on a more frequent basis. Then Christmas will probably be as planned. You know, we'll adopt a couple families that's going to be needed. We're doing our current mentorship program in 6 weeks, and it's from 10-year-old to 15. We'll probably roll out. They haven't been determined, but probably do one for the older students as well, because that conversation is different. I mean, we got budgeting, respect, communication, goals, confidence. We're talking about all that stuff, and so they need it in a different way. And so and then everything else pretty business as usual. Probably do. You know, we've been doing interviews, speaking events. We've been on podcasts. That's been a blessing to get the word out. But then we'll be shifting gears a lot to friends in business. Friends in business, a lot. You'll see a lot of things happen with that. And then we'll probably bring on some new leaders. Well, only new because they'll be like new, not replacing any. Bringing on some new leadership to RPEO so that we can really grow to fit some of the dreams we have for the organization.
We have a question from the audience.
Yes.
Audience member, they asked, is this in the city? So I'm thinking she's referring to your question about the donations and the food, maybe. This is Miss Navincia Valentine.
So currently we're in, Virginia. And so that operation is out of Williamsburg, Virginia. We grew up in that area. So a lot of our stuff is there in terms of physically. We service pretty much all of Hampton Roads though. And so that place, but if you know anybody, they can get there. The information is actually on our RPEO va.org, or you can go to our website. Thank you. Or they can go to our better source would be our Facebook page. Our Facebook. You just look RPEO VA, it'll come up and you'll see the flyer. And so anybody's free to come and pick up a box. No questions asked, right? And so I thought that was pretty cool too. So I hope that covers the question. But we are in Virginia. That location is in Williamsburg. We do service all the Hampton Roads, but you can actually, if you know somebody, if you want to come, it's a box and there's some pictures. Like it's a blessing, like milk, eggs, food, grocery food.
Wow. Cooked food, not snacks.
No, it's not cooked, but it can, but it's food you have to cook. So it's not snacks. Like, so that was pretty amazing.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Y'all, this is dynamic. This is incredible. I typically ask the question, how do you get back to the community? That's what you're all about. It's all over you. I don't need to ask that question. We know how you get back to the community. How can people support you? How can we get behind you? Donate. How can we give to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. So go to the website, rpova.org, and there's a giving button there, and that it happens through PayPal. I mean, RPEO VA. We're on Cash App. The best way to do it though, so we can talk about what your comfort level is in giving. Obviously, most people go to the website, but we do some campaigns on Facebook. A lot of people give that way. That's been a blessing. But you can contact me directly. So I'm on social media. I'm everywhere on social media by my government name, Reneldo Randall. Sometimes you see MBA behind it. Contact PJ Pickett. You can go to my personal website as well. You can just contact us, or you can just go to the website and donate there. But you need to write a check if you want to do Cash App. We can accommodate whatever your giving modality needs to be.
Powerful. Who are your heroes and why?
Who are your heroes and why? Who are my heroes and why? Man, I like this. I don't know if it changes. Definitely my mom, right? Because it wouldn't be a me if it wasn't my mom. And it's just, man, a parent's love, a mother's love is just like unmatched, man. And so sometimes I forget that that's the lady that raised me. So everything you see now is my mom. I went to college, that's my mom. I was a teen parent and I went to college. When I got to college, I had a 2-year-old, right? And so the way I was able to get through that was my mom. She got me to college. She got me to learn how to read. You know, she took care of me when I was sick, and she supported everything I do. To this day, with everything that's going on, you all know with the pandemic and this, she's here helping me homeschool my kids. So, absolutely, my mom. You say 3?
Yes.
3? I would say somebody like Martin Luther King. Right, Martin Luther King, because if you all can just imagine the sacrifice him and his family had to undergo for us, people that look like me, to have the type of rights that we have. You can imagine living in his time or before, like civil rights. I mean, that's crazy. And then I almost want to say, I could name other people, but in this moment, I also say Malcolm X, because you needed a Martin and you needed a Malcolm, right? Good cop, bad cop, right? Because they move differently, right? And so I think both of them, because and if you ask me probably post-COVID, pre-COVID, I'm sorry, I may have said something different. I think Martin would have still been up there. It was asked in a different context. Yeah, but right now, Martin, man, because for them to go with, because now we're seeing rewinds of
history,
right? It's for them to have to go through that with no rights, no laws, no money, no influence, no infrastructure, no black people with any, no brown people with any power, and just have to deal with it, right? And for him to have the same, that type of diplomacy and nonviolent type mentality, and for Malcolm X to do the same, but to be a little stronger, right? And for them to be able to speak up the way they did on behalf of the people, yeah. I see somebody ask for volunteers. Yeah, we're looking for volunteers, so go ahead and contact me, Reneldo Randall. Social media, Facebook's probably the best if you're interested in volunteering.
Powerful.
Yes,
Powerful.
Heroes, man.
Thank you for that. This has been an incredible show. I've grown as an individual. I've grown as a person, and you have helped so many, and I know you're going to continue to help. Thank you for coming on the show, brother. Is there anything that I should have asked, that I didn't ask, that I missed, that you want to say? Words of advice, last tidbits.
I mean, I think you covered it well, man. I mean, you're doing a great job. I want to give you praise for your platform and what you've been able to do. I've been able to see you grow, to be on this journey with you. You know what I'm saying? Lucky to call you a friend and hopefully a mentor. And I know you mentored me too. And so, yeah, I think the questions were great. But if anybody has any questions for me, you told them how to find me. We're here to help, man. Want to see everybody grow. One thing we always say is, like, there's plenty of room at the top, right? Can't nobody, when a flower grows, the flower don't look to the left or the right and say, oh, how fast is he growing and he's growing. Flowers just grow because that's what it's supposed to do. And so that's what I would leave you with. Like, don't look to the left, don't look to the right. Just grow, right? Grow where you're planted, right? Use what you have and take a move now, right? Don't wait. The time is never going to be perfect. Time's never going to be perfect. So I would say just move, and don't be afraid to fail. I'm afraid to fail.
Wow. Thank you, my friend. And yes, you are my mentor, and I appreciate that. Those words of encouragement, they encourage me. You encourage me every day to keep going, even when I wanted to give up. The world needs more people. The world is changed by your influence, and the world needs you. So you, brother, keep going, please, because the world needs you. They need the legacy that your mom has birthed in you, and so please keep going. Never give up, never quit. And I thank you for this. This is incredible. Thank you all, my special audience. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, supporting this page, and supporting the channel. As we grow, please grow with us. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are on most major platforms: iHeartRadio, YouTube, Spotify, and YouTube and Facebook. Always Facebook. So, like I always say, this is Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast and Mr. Reneldo Randall coming to you live and signing off. Like always, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman and Mr. Reneldo Randall signing off. Bye.
Bless.